Welcome back to the Jumping Mystic.
It is good to be back in the tunnel system
This is episode 18 of Discover Your Genius.
and moving right along the timeline.
Today we are deep diving into the third group of gift-specific jumps in section 2. We've spent a lot of time talking about undernaming, that bad habit we have of calling a genius trait a quirk or just a hobby.
Right, we diminish it. Oh, I'm just organized, or, I'm just a sensitive person.
Today we stop the undernaming. We're turning the lights on in 5 specific tunnels of that nest. We are moving from I have a quirk to I have a specific piece of hardware.
Yes.
But before we list these out, I need you to clarify something, sort of the rules of engagement here.
Go on.
Usually when people listen to a series like this, there's this completionist compulsion. I need to collect all the badges.
Of course.
If we talk about 5 genius types, people are going to try to shoehorn themselves into all 5.
That is the school mindset.
Right.
We're conditioned to believe that if we aren't good at everything, we're failing. But section 2, it's a buffet, not a forced march.
A buffet, meaning I can skip the salad bar.
You can absolutely skip the salad bar. And the mystery meatloaf, you are not expected to resonate with every single jump. In fact, you shouldn't.
Oh, that's interesting.
You are looking to identify your specific hardware. If we describe a tunnel today and you think, that sounds exhausting, or that is so not me, that is excellent data.
So the no is just as valuable as the yes.
Exactly. If a tunnel doesn't have your name on it, you don't have to walk down it. You just nod,
Yeah.
acknowledge it exists for someone else, and keep moving until you find the one that makes your nervous system.
Resonance over obligation.
That's it. Focus on resonance over obligation.
That's a tough shift for a lot of us, but let's try to hold on to that as we look at the menu. So we have 5 archetypes to cover: the Natural Consecrator, the Flow Librarian, the Soul Harmonizer, the Lightning Connector, and the Quiet Strategist.
It is a pretty diverse mix. We've got environmental shifts, internal data sorting, and some high voltage strategy in there.
Okay, let's jump right in with Jump 16. Now this one has a title that sounds, well, frankly, it sounds a little religious. The Natural Consecrator.
I know, the word consecrator carries a lot of baggage, doesn't it? It smells like incense and old stone churches.
It really does.
But let's just strip that away for a second. This is an environmental space jump.
And a quick refresher, when we say environmental space jump, we aren't meeting a character, right? We're not meeting a version of ourselves.
Correct. You're stepping into a specific atmosphere or a location inside your psyche to learn how to hold that frequency yourself.
Okay, so back to the consecrator, the person who has a genius for atmosphere, but I have to play devil's advocate here. Isn't this just, I don't know, interior design or being a good host?
And that is exactly how it gets undernamed.
Yeah.
People with this gift, they say, oh, I just like things to be nice, or I'm really into setting the mood.
I'm just picky about lighting.
Exactly. They dismiss it as just aesthetic. It's fussy. But the genius definition is so much deeper.
Which is?
It's the ability to find profound meaning in the mundane. And more importantly, it's the ability to make an environment feel aligned, balanced,
Yeah.
simply by your presence.
Give me a concrete example. What does this look like in the wild? Not in a temple, but say in an office.
Okay, great question. Imagine a high-stakes meeting. Everyone is tense. Egos are flaring. The air feels jagged.
I know that feeling.
Then someone walks in. Maybe they don't even say much. They just sit down, maybe adjust a notebook on the table, pour a glass of water, and suddenly the temperature in the room drops 10 degrees. Everyone's breathing slows down.
So they act as a human heat sink.
A stabilizer. That's a great way to put it. Think of it like a tuning fork.
Yeah.
You strike a C note on a tuning fork, a guitar string across the room that's tuned to C will start vibrating.
That's resonance.
That is resonance.
Yeah.
The Natural Consecrator is a living tuning fork. They vibrate at a frequency of sacredness or order, and the chaotic room starts to entrain to them.
That is wild. So it's an energetic function. It completely combats that idea that sacred only happens in special places on holidays.
Exactly. The Natural Consecrator realizes the sacred is just an act of attention. When they set a table or arrange a room, they're not just decorating. They're building a container for human connection.
So if you're the person everyone wants around when things feel hectic, not because you're fixing the spreadsheet, but because the room just feels right when you're there, that might be your tunnel.
That is your gamma load. You are not just nice. You are structural support for the vibe.
I think a lot of people overlook that because it's invisible. You can't put vibe stabilizer on a resume.
You can't, but you can certainly feel the absence of it when it's gone.
Okay, moving on. We have a pair of jumps 17 and 18 that seem to be grouped around a theme. We have the Flow Librarian and the Soul Harmonizer.
This pairing is all about how we organize our internal data. One does it with information, and the other does it with emotion.
Let's start with jump 17, the Flow Librarian. It's a doppelganger jump, so we're meeting a version of ourselves. Now, librarian immediately makes me think of the Dewey Decimal System, strict rules, silence. Is this for the type A folks?
Surprisingly, no. Or, well, not in the way you might think. The Flow Librarian isn't about rote logic or memorization. It's actually the antidote to the anxiety of memorization.
Explain that, because I feel like most of us rely on memorization to feel competent.
Well, memorization is anxious, isn't it? It's a clenched fist. It says, I have to hold on to this fact tightly or I will lose it. It uses up a huge amount of energy.
Right.
The Flow Librarian operates on trust. It's the shift from holding the data to retrieving it.
So instead of carrying the book around with you, you just trust that the book is on the shelf when you need it.
Exactly. Think about a time you were in a conversation, maybe a debate, and you weren't trying to remember a fact, but suddenly the perfect statistic or, quote, just had just dropped into your mind.
Yeah, that feels like a magic trick when it happens.
That's the Flow Librarian. It is intuitive retrieval. You put your hand out, metaphorically, and the book just falls into it. You trust that the information is in there and it's accessible.
Okay, but for the listener who's prepping for a big meeting, can they really rely on that? It feels, I don't know, risky to just trust it will come.
It feels risky because we are trained to over-prepare. But the genius of this archetype is the filing system. They don't file by alphabet, they file by association, by intuition. If you have this hardware, you probably find that traditional studying makes you worse.
Really?
But just absorbing the material allows you to recall it perfectly under pressure.
So stop forcing the index cards and just trust the intake process.
Precisely. Let the librarian handle the retrieval.
Then we have the counterpart to that, jump 18, the Soul Harmonizer. This one is an archetypal field jump.
This is a totally different kind of organization. If the librarian is sorting facts, the harmonizer is tuning frequencies.
The description here says it involves entering a field of vibrational alignment to tune conflicting parts of the self. That sounds pretty grand. What does that mean for the person driving to work right now?
Well, we all have conflicting parts. We are not monoliths. You have a part of you that wants to quit your job and move to Bali,
I know that part well.
and you have another part that craves the safety of a 401k. You have a part that is furious at your partner and a part that loves them deeply.
And usually we try to solve that with a pro-con list. We try to logic our way out of the conflict.
Which almost always fails. Because emotions aren't logical. They are musical. You can't argue a piano into being in tune. You have to tune it.
So the Soul Harmonizer is like the conductor of the internal orchestra.
Yes. The genius here is the ability to restore wholeness, to restore energetic coherence. It's not about choosing the correct part. It's about getting the woodwinds and the brass to play in the same key.
This brings up a concept you mentioned in the pre-show notes, the Tuesday grounding moment. I love this question.
It's a pragmatic diagnostic tool. If you look at your internal life, all your life's data, is it organized by the Dewey Decimal System, which is logic? Or is it organized by how much it makes you want to cry on a Tuesday morning?
Wow, that is such a specific sorting method. File under, Tuesday crying.
But it's real. That is resonance. The Flow Librarian might sort by topic, but the Soul Harmonizer sorts by the emotional charge. If you are a Soul Harmonizer trying to organize your life solely by logic, you are going to feel completely broken. You'll have the perfect plan on paper, but you'll feel stuck.
And if you're a Flow Librarian trying to feel your way through a math problem, you might struggle.
You need to know which operating system you're running.
It really validates the people who feel things deeply as a form of intelligence. We usually treat emotion as noise in the system, but you're saying for this archetype, emotion is the system.
Emotion is data. It's high-fidelity data.
Okay, let's move to our final pairing today, jumps 19 and 20. We're calling this group Electric Strategy.
This is where we get into how we connect dots and how we execute plans.
Jump 19 is the lightning connector. Just the name sounds high caffeine. This is a doppelganger jump.
And this one is personal for a lot of people.
Okay.
Because it is almost always undernamed as a deficit.
Let me guess. ADHD?
ADHD, scattered, random, can't stay on topic.
Squirrel brain.
Exactly. If you have this hardware, you have probably been told your whole life to focus, to slow down, to just go from A to B.
But the lightning connector doesn't do A to B.
No. The genius definition here is innovation through nonlinear leaps. The lightning connector is the person who is talking about the coffee machine breaking and suddenly says, wait, this is exactly like the supply chain issue we're having in logistics.
And everyone else in the meeting looks at them like they've completely lost their mind.
Until they explain it. The filter is clogged here, the port is clogged there, it's a flow restriction issue, and suddenly the whole problem is solved.
So the genius is seeing the bridge between two islands that everyone else thinks are on different planets.
Yes. Most people build a bridge brick by brick. The lightning connector swings across on a vine. They solve problems faster because they ignore the standard linear path. They jump from A to Z because they saw the flash of lightning that connected them.
But here's the pragmatic pushback. To a manager or a partner, that person can look unreliable. They can look like they're just distracted.
Yeah.
How do you differentiate Genius Connector from just unfocus?
The difference is the output. Distraction leads nowhere. The lightning connector lands the jump. They produce the solution. If you are just drifting, that's not the genius. But if your drifting consistently leads to aha moments that save the company time or money, that's the lightning connector.
So if you've been beating yourself up for having a scattered brain, this jump is inviting you to meet the version of yourself who respects that speed.
It's not scattered, it's high-speed synthesis. We often call things disorders when they're actually just high-performance engines without a steering wheel. This jump gives you the steering wheel.
Now, Jump 20 offers a really beautiful contrast to that high-speed energy. Jump 20 is the Quiet Strategist.
Also a doppelganger jump. And if the lightning connector is the flash, the Quiet Strategist is the thunder that rolls in later but shakes the ground.
The description emphasizes genius in timing, observation, and behind-the-scenes orchestration. This feels like the introvert's revenge.
It absolutely is. We live in a culture that rewards the loudest voice in the room. We think leadership looks like standing on a table and shouting orders.
Or at least dominating the brainstorm session.
Right. But the Quiet Strategist is the power of the silent plan. They aren't the ones shouting ideas. They are the ones sitting back, watching the room, calculating variables.
They're gathering data while everyone else is expelling energy.
Exactly. The benefit here is leading from the shadows, executing strategy without force. It's the person who waits until the meeting is 55 minutes in, everyone is exhausted and confused, and they say one sentence.
And that one sentence fixes everything.
It changes the entire direction of the project. It is the sniper approach to leadership.
Influencing outcomes purely through timing. That sounds incredibly efficient.
It is the definition of efficiency. Minimum effort, maximum result. But again, it gets undernamed. These people are often called passive or shy or disengaged.
Why didn't you speak up sooner?
And the answer is because it wasn't time yet. This tunnel validates the person who doesn't need to be on stage to control the show. If you are someone who feels drowned out by the noise, this tunnel tells you that your silence is actually a strategic vantage point.
You aren't checking out, you're calibrating.
You are waiting for the leverage point. That is genius.
So looking at this whole stack we've covered today, the Natural Consecrator, the Flow Librarian, the Soul Harmonizer, the Lightning Connector, and the Quiet Strategist, it's a really rich spectrum.
It covers the environment, the mind, the heart, the spark of innovation, and the patience of strategy.
And it brings us back to that core mission of Section 2, identification.
Okay.
We are not asking anyone to be all 5 of these.
Please don't try. That is a recipe for a breakdown.
Right. If we were talking about the Quiet Strategist just now and you felt that little spark of recognition, that feeling of, oh, thank God that's a thing, that is your signal.
That is the gamma load you are built to carry. And just to define that term again, gamma load is that high-frequency processing state where your brain is working optimally. It's the zone.
Okay.
If you try to carry someone else's load, you burn out. If you carry yours, you light up.
Don't try to trade it in for the Lightning Connector just because it sounds flashier, or vice versa.
Exactly. Use the hardware you have.
I want to leave the listener with a thought to chew on as we wrap up. We've talked about finding the gift you have, but you brought up a really provocative point in our prep about ease.
Yes, this is the trap. I'd ask you to consider not just which gift you have, but which one you have been actively suppressing because it didn't look like work.
Oh, that is the Puritan work ethic coming for us, isn't it? If it's easy, it's cheating.
That's the cultural narrative. If you're a natural consecrator, making a room feel good feels effortless to you. It feels like breathing. So you assume it has zero value. You think, I can't charge for this. I can't put this on a performance review.
Or if you're a Lightning Connector, the connections come so fast you think you didn't earn the solution because you didn't suffer through a spreadsheet for 3 days.
Exactly. We discount our genius because it comes naturally. But what if the thing you are suppressing is actually your highest value contribution? What if the ease is the evidence of the genius, not the lack of value?
That is a serious thing to mull over. I'm going to spend this week trying to figure out if I'm a quiet strategist or just shy. It's a big difference in how I show up.
It changes the way you look at your own day-to-day behaviors.
We are going to keep excavating these tunnels. Next time, we are deep diving into the final group of Section 2 jumps in episode 19. We're going to round out this toolkit.
We have a few more tunnels to light up before we move on to the integration phase.
And if you want to dive deeper into these specific archetypes or actually experience the guided jumps we talked about, meeting your quiet strategist or entering that natural consecrator space, you need to go to the source.
Subscribe to the House of Mystics YouTube channel. That is the library. That is where the new episodes, the specific guided jumps, and the companion music all live.
And as we always say, the music is a huge part of the integration. It helps the concept settle into the body so you aren't just thinking about it.
It bypasses the logic, that Dewey Decimal System, and goes straight to the resonance.
So head over there, subscribe, and start exploring your own ant nest.
Stop bumping into the furniture. Turn on the lights.
Until next time, trust your wiring.
And I'll see you in the next deep dive.